Hi, welcome. In this video, I want to talk about this whole issue of censorship. Okay, that's happening within the dog training community. And on this video, I'm going to put this in the context here by way of Robert Hines receiving 2 copyright strikes by way of Robert Cabral, who's a balanced dog trainer, for doing a couple of breakdown videos where Cabral initiated copyright strikes against Hines. Now, I talk about my situation here recently. Again, as I go through my Flipping the Script series, I'm putting a specific information, okay, regarding the source of the problem in the dog training world. If you look at the state of the dog training world, the dog training world is a complete train wreck. Okay, I talk about this. I talk about the reasons why. Look at all this divisiveness. You look at all this back and forth between these two groups, balanced and force-free. But what you're seeing here is, the total, pushing forward, trying to push forward, trying to market this ideology. And I talk about ideology, this idea that trains a learning-based exercise. And I show very clearly how it is symptomatic of all the issues in terms of outcomes, dogs, blame shifting on the dogs, through its application by way of, in the middle of a relationship problem, these trainers, balanced trainers, force-free, who are motivating dogs to respond while assuming those responses represent the perceptions of dogs are changing and totally inherently flawed, based again on how a dog's decision-making process is governed. Dogs are social animals. And the 2 core ingredients I talk about, influence and control, not being part of a process. But I talk about how the core ingredients come into a process by way of a intentional interaction-based method that shines the spotlight on the dog owner properly by way, again, of the social aspect of the relationship, which, again, leads to diminishment, okay, of unwanted behavioral issues. Now, understand the dog training world has gotten so bad, because understand that I talked about why this has been on a slow boil since the beginning, back with Pavlov and Skinner through behavioralism, which again, Hines is a big proponent of behavioralism. I talk about why it puts you in the same position as a, as a force-free trainer in terms of the end result of that, by way of, again, those 2 core ingredients being absent. But here's the point of all of it, okay? And I talk about the ability to be able to, work through, okay, a issue, freedom of speech being, part of the ability to do that. And understand if you don't have a problem to work through, well, guess what? Then it's not, not important. But it's important, period, okay? And I appreciate being able to, talk through the ability for people to get offended, right? But offended for the right reasons, okay? Now, when I talk about, what's going on in the dog training world, again, I experienced this issue about censorship through the whole Ivan Belanoff situation, where I'd encourage you to watch the videos I did on this over on Rumble. Okay, I'm going to talk about this by way of my Flipping the Script series, where, again, as I'm going through, putting forward specific information, I'm going through balance training, force-free training, Ivan Belanoff, play-based training, and following fair usage, okay, and how that triggered off, by way of Ivan Belanoff, a copyright strike, right? And the video that I put up was removed, and putting my channel in jeopardy, okay? But again, the thing I found very interesting in that whole situation, I talk about the hypocrisy that's happened in the dog training world, is that the same video that I responded to by way of Ivan's video he put out, public video, where he's talking about, where he's portraying himself as a source of information, trophies in the background, portraying himself as an expert in the dog training world. And so interesting in the sense of, well, if someone's putting out specific information, why are you engaging in a copyright strike if you are confident in what you're saying? Where, again, I'm not getting personal with these trainers. If you watch my videos, you won't hear me engaging in cheap shots, talking a certain way. Okay, I'm very specific information, right? And so under fair usage, but here's the hypocrisy of that whole situation. The same video that I used like 4 minutes of, Miracle Canine, and you can watch my debate where I went on Miracle Canine for almost 2 hours. And I brought this whole situation up because Miss Miracle Canine used the same video by way of Ivan Belanoff, and they used a lot more. You can watch it, still up on YouTube. They used a lot more of that video, but because they went along with the narrative, right? They weren't challenging what Ivan was saying, because again, Miracle Canine, they identify as balanced. That was fine, right? The video's still up. No copyright strike initiated. The video's still up. But because, again, I'm talking about what the real issue is, copyright strike, which you're going to find very interesting, considering, right, that these trainers are coming off as experts. So my thought would be you should have no problem with, having that someone talk about, or challenge what you're saying if it's done based on specific information, because if you're solid, right, you should be able to respond to it. Because here's the thing, people use my videos, such as Robert Hines. I don't have a problem with that, okay? I can stand behind what I'm saying. But here's the thing, what you're seeing happening in the dog training world, really think about this, is it doesn't seem to matter about, confronting what the real problems are at all. It's this whole thing, as long as I can continue to market, if I can just push forward, if I can, take down or, remove that conversation, right? Censor, if I can do that, and shut it down, that's all I care about. I'm successful. That validates me somehow and what I'm marketing. That's totally ridiculous, right? Just think about that, because this is what's happening in the dog training world. This whole thing about, this is how entrenched this is. But if you look at all the massive problems, anybody who's the least bit objective should look at this and say, there's something seriously wrong here. Look at all the infighting. Look at all the things happening, device bans. You're looking at breed-specific bans. You look at all this back and forth. You look at all the inherent problems, all symptomatic. Look at the bad outcomes. Just how common it is for dog owners to invest time, money into this idea of dogs moving around the training environment, and people getting their certificates and still have a relationship problem, coming out on the other side of a process. That happens all the time. People should be saying, why is that? And I talk about that. I'm very specific about that. So I want to, bring this to people's attention because, understand that YouTube isn't exactly a platform that is pro freedom of speech. I mean, that's the first thing. So what a great vehicle for, those who are engaging in marketing something that is, that's totally inherently flawed, selling a product, because that's what this is. Understand this process is a product. And that's what I'm doing. I'm like flipping the cereal box over, talking about what's inside the cereal box. But again, how great is that you can market and then you can censor and shut people down. It's almost like you have your cake and eat it too here. So, this is why. And again, so this situation here involving Hines, another example of this. So I'm all for, I'll be the first one to defend Robert Hines' ability to be able to, even though he's wrong, okay, and I put it out there, even though behavioralism doesn't answer the questions, I still respect his right to be able to respond without being shut down like this, right? Being censored here. Play some of this here. You can see Cabral had actually engaged in, and then this video put out by Hines here, just showing, okay, on his YouTube channel, what's happened, the video that was used. So it seems like balanced dogs can say whatever they want, right? But they're, they're trying to, engage in copyright strikes here to have a channel terminated. So right here, we see the copyright strike. It says you now have two copyright strikes. You get one more, you will have to terminate your channel, right? So there you go. So these, I call them, sensitive, dog trainers, because understand something here. The dog training world's a mess. And so again, I talk about having the ability to be able to work through something, have this conversation. Well, guess what? It seems like a lot of these trainers, they don't want to have that conversation. So I'll just put it out there that, and a lot of followers too, I understand this is the kind of mob mentality happening in the dog training world. This just shows you how bad things are with what's happened in the dog training world. So anyway, I would encourage people to really think of what's going on here. I can say someone's wrong in what they're doing, but still respect their right to say it. To engage. I mean, don't get wrong, Heinz can be very, outspoken and pushy. I turned down direct conversation with him, even though I went on Miracle Canine thing, but that was just a personal choice because there's no foundation to even have a conversation based on what behavioralism represents. But again, still respect his right to be able to say what he wants to say, and move on from there. But again, my whole point of everything is to say that be able to talk through something. But again, YouTube isn't exactly a place that's going to happen anyway. The point is, it seems interesting that this is a pattern now. Okay, you're seeing this type of thing happening now, trying to shut people down, copyright strikes. So all to say that, okay. So even when I look at this, I'm saying, hey, even for my channel on YouTube, right? I've had a copyright strike, and again, I put the challenge out. I say with Ivan Balanoff, hey, total hypocrisy. You have people come on your podcast. I still have an open challenge to him. Hey, I'll come on your podcast, remove the copyright strike first, because total hypocrisy that even happened, based again on the information I put out. And I'll come on your podcast, and we'll have a real conversation. Just like I went on Miracle Canine's podcast. I connected dots. You can watch that. It's not going to be fun information for people who want to ignore all the problems, but I actually connect the problems. Say this is actually pointing towards what I'm saying is the real problem in the dog training world. By the way, this very popular idea that trains a learning-based exercise. I talk about that. How it sets up a counterfeit picture within the framework of response for so many dogs and owners. So again, I'll say that what's going on in the dog training world is a total farce. It's a joke to engage this way. If you don't like people's comments on your videos, you can. There's ways to remove those without putting a copyright strike on someone and terminating somebody's channel, shutting them down this way. Which again, I totally disagree with. So again, you can put your thoughts down here, what you think about it. Again, I may not, someone can be totally wrong, but I can still respect their right or their ability to speak and be able to, put their views forward. Again, this is to me, this is a joke. Thanks for watching.